Let's start with a small recap of what was done during this month. We are moving closer to the launch, so our main activity is currently focused on smart contracts and security. We are contacting the auditors. We are trying to find someone who can review the code, and we would like to hire a recognizable company to do the work for us. And at the same time, I'm in favor of giving this task to some auditors in Ethereum space that I know personally, that I've worked with, and that I can trust, that they can find all the vulnerabilities, and they are familiar with ERC-223 more than others, because this is not a traditional task to verify the workflow of ERC-223 standard, and it can have some specifics, I would say. And this is what we are currently doing. We are discussing the terms of the security audit with a few parties, and I think we will start in October, early October. It will take 2 weeks or maybe the full October, depending on the auditing company or the auditor that can be working with us. So this will take time. It's unlikely that we will launch on mid-October. Most likely we will schedule the platform deployment and launch to late October or even early November, because all these security processes need to pass first, obviously. And at the same time, we are doing our internal audit. I found a vulnerability like 3 weeks ago, and we spent most of the time with our contracts fixing the vulnerability that I found. It was related to the creation of pools. I don't want to dive deeper in more technical details, but as we are working with 2 types of tokens, ERC20 and ERC223 at the same time, and we need to keep pools in a correct state where they recognize that this ERC20 token and this ERC223 token are exactly the same token, and nobody can create a contract and pretend that some random ERC223 token is actually a version of existing ERC20 token, but it is not created through the converter. There was a vulnerability that would allow anyone to mess our pools and prevent us from deploying correct pools. So this is kind of critical, and we needed to redesign how the pools are created. This is mostly done. We are doing the final tests on how this works right now. But this was the major activity during this month related to fixing the vulnerability that we discovered ourselves. Also, we are updating the contracts for the launch. We are adding some minor changes to the routing contract that would allow ERC-223 tokens to behave identical to ERC20. If you are a technical expert, you can obviously review the code on our GitHub. It is published there. You can see all our commits during this last days, mostly. And we are preparing the final change. At the same time, we will need to standardize what we are doing in Ethereum. And we are doing this recap quite early. There are few days left until the end of this month. And in these days, we will submit the pull request to Ethereum. We are updating the token standard converter Ethereum improvement proposal. And I will add the new Ethereum improvement proposal that will standardize the introspection of token standard. This sounds quite terrible, but whatever. So the introspection of token standard is a method of determining automatically by the contract which token you are dealing with. Because ERC20 and ERC223 tokens, from technical point of view, they're different. You need to deal with them differently. If you apply the ERC223 transferring methods to ERC20 token, it can cause some problems. For example, if you want to deposit ERC223 token to some contract, you just send it there. If you want to deposit ERC20 token to some contract, you need to know how exactly this contract accepts this ERC20 tokens, and you need to ask this contract to pull the tokens from you. So you need to issue an approval for this contract to pull these tokens from you, and then you ask the contract to do this. And if you send ERC20 tokens to the contract like you are doing it with ERC223, it will be a problem because the contract will not recognize this deposit. So this is quite important. And in Ethereum, there is ERC-165, which determines which contract supports which interface, and they are mostly using this thing for the introspection. But it only allows us to determine which functions are supported in particular contract. And in some edge cases, it will not allow us to determine which token we are dealing with. So ERC-223 token can be written in a way that from the outside, it will look completely identical to ERC20 token. And the only difference will be the logic. So ERC-165, the general introspection on Ethereum, is not applicable here. And we can't rely on it. So we are proposing our own method of identifying the logic of a contract from the outside. This is already used by our converter, and this is already supported in Dex223, but we need to standardize it on Ethereum, and I don't expect any problems to arise there, but it takes time, and this needs to be done. And this will be done in the next, I think, 2 days, because we have prepared everything, and we just need to sign the pull request. Also, we have a significant redesign of the interface. We have adjusted the colors. Mostly the unimportant texts are now darker. They are not as bright, and they will not cut your attention and distract you from trading. This is a change that we are doing based on the feedbacks that we received, and this is quite a significant rework of how the Dex223 will look. We hope we will merge it in the next few weeks, and you can review the changes on our Figma. It will be published in a written version of the report. The previous public version of our Figma does not contain these changes. There is nothing dramatic, but we decided that those feedbacks regarding how traders interact with the exchange and what are the requests are worth implementing, so we are doing this. Also, the UI designers completed the margin trading page. Mostly there are a few changes that we still expect, but this is more or less final, and we can expect our interface to look and behave the way it is currently in our Figma. So if you are interested in margin trading and how it will look like, you can read the written report that I will publish on 4th October. At the same time, the ICO is over. We have completed this big round. It was not the greatest round that we had. It has worse results than the previous one, mostly because of the market conditions, and we were not focusing on marketing activities this time. I was mostly busy with technical stuff, and I was not doing that much AMAs and the marketing campaign was not as big as before, and we got worse results. As a result, initially we planned to have an auction round after this one, but this auction round has its own tokens allocated for it, and we needed to send all the unsold tokens from this big ICO round to the auction. And this is not the greatest idea right now, given that there are a lot of tokens left, they are unsold, and they need to go to the auction round. So we decided that we will cancel the auction. We will most likely have an fixed another ICO round in February or even later, when we will see that the market conditions are better for the token sales, and after we will be done with all the post-launch activities that occupy all of the time, and we can actually focus on promoting. So the current state, the ICO is over. We are ready to proceed to the listing on Bitmart. Bitmart is important for us because it agreed to support the ERC-223 standard, and it agreed to support ERC-223 USDT. So we are not only listing the D223 token there, we will be also making the first change in the direction of the ERC-223 standard adoption. Okay, so I will continue the description of what happened to the financial state of.
Yes, please continue, Dexaran.
Yeah. So as I said, we canceled the auction. We will have another round, but it is not yet scheduled and it is not yet announced. We will also update the crypto rank and all the services that were tracking our token sales. The biggest part of unsold tokens will go to the, I would say, treasury fund. It will remain on the team's balance. It will be locked for a few months at least, and we will decide and announce the usage of these tokens later. We will not be selling them. We will most likely lock them in the revenue contract, and we will be receiving the share of revenue like other D223 token stakers. This is not actually staking. This is receiving the revenue stream from the on-chain trade. So that's it for the financial state. Regarding the finances, we are fine, and we still have the funds to continue the development, proceed to the first listings, and I'm quite confident in our ability to at least build the MVP, deploy it on Ethereum chain, and maybe other chains that we will select, most likely BSC, Binance chain, and the EOS will be supported first, but the list of the supported chains will be announced next. And we are fine. We are doing reasonably well in this direction. So we have applied to Defcon. We have two applications, one from the ERC-223 Token Standard and one from the Dex223 exchange, the first exchange that supports the standard. And there is still no conclusion and decision from Defcon if they approve our application. But they have requested some information from us, so they are reviewing the application right now, and I hope they will answer, because they told us that they will answer in September. September is already almost over, but there is still no final decision from them. They told us that they received a very high number of applications and the acceptance rate will be low this time, but we are applying in a category where applications are quite few. So we are describing our standard and DEX as core features and organizational processes on top of Ethereum, and those are the least picked applications. So we're waiting. I need to clarify that we are completing the migration of pre-sale D223 tokens from Callisto chain. We've made a snapshot, but it was inconsistent with the data that users provided us. They told us that they made transactions after this, like before the snapshot, and they were not included in the snapshot. So this is mostly related to the unreliability of the current Callisto public node, and we are syncing our own node. It's already synced, I think, by today, and we will make a new snapshot, and after that we will deliver the tokens ourselves. This is only relevant to those who bought pre-sale D223 tokens on Callisto chain. There was a small pre-sale there, and if you already have your D223 tokens on Ethereum, you don't need to do anything. This is only for pre-sale tokens. Also, I think that we may update the D223 token contract in the few weeks, because at the moment when we started the project, we were not yet implementing the platform core features, and during the process of the platform development, we discovered some, I would say, best practices of interacting with ERC-223 tokens, of token standard introspection, and we discovered a number of problems that were not evident at the planning stage. And now we are aware of the best practices that we can apply. And our old D223 token doesn't support most of them. So it may be necessary to update the reference token before we'll proceed to the public launch. This is not yet a final decision from the team. We need to discuss the pros and cons internally. But this may happen. So if we will decide to update the token, there will be a migration process on Ethereum chain. So you will need to transform your D223 tokens to new version of D223 token. We will announce the details and the migration process. And most likely we will support both the tokens that were sold on these rounds and the new version in our platform. But it is recommended to update it if we will decide that we will release a new version. But stay tuned for the update. This is not yet final. Also, I need to mention that we have a block producer on EOS chain, and we have supported the latest hard fork of the EOS, and everything went quite smoothly. Our block producer is running, and everything is fine with it. You can also proxy your EOS votes to Dex223 proxy if you have some EOS, and this will be highly appreciated. I think that we are done with a monthly recap of the most important news, and we can proceed to questions.
Awesome, Dexaran. Thank you so much. This sounds interesting. So I got a few questions from the community regarding the listing, of course. So is there already like a specific date for the Bitmart listing? And how do you think we can, or you can smoothen the listing phase and the initial trading period on Bitmart?
Well, There is no date of the listing. We need to first decide if we will be listing the D223 token as it is right now, or we will be listing the new version, which will be tradable. And if we will decide to upgrade the token, then we will obviously list the upgraded version of the token. And there will be a conversion process prior to the listing. Also, we have a contract deadline with Bitmart. It is the end of September, so we need to finalize it with them by this date. And after that, we will make an announcement, and I think the Bitmart will also make the announcement. But this topic with the token upgrade is the bottleneck right now. Regarding the initial trading, we are contacting some market makers that we worked with earlier, and I think that we will just rely on their services as always.
Okay, awesome. So in the next few days, we will see the listing very likely because of the contract. Okay, so regarding the prototype, we recently could see that there was a new feature added, the portfolio feature. Can you maybe explain a little bit what it is and how does it work, and maybe what unique features it has instead of compared to other portfolios of other exchanges?
Yeah, I think portfolio is quite a standard feature. It is designed to allow users to track their assets easier. On our exchange, it is also related to margin trading, but this is quite the default set of features for the decentralized exchange. You can swap tokens, you can provide liquidity, and you can track what you are doing there. On our exchange, portfolio serves two different purposes on top of what it serves on other DEXs. So the first one is related to the technical details of ERC-223 token implementation. When you deposit ERC20 tokens to smart contracts, and obviously the DEX is fully built with smart contracts, and you are constantly sending tokens to smart contracts with it when you interact with DEX. If you deposit ERC20 tokens to smart contract, you need to approve this contract to take some amount of tokens from you. And when you are actually making the deposit, you ask this contract to take as much as it needs. With ERC-223 tokens, it works differently. You just send tokens to the smart contract, and it operates with the amount of tokens that it received. There is a key difference. In ERC20, the contract determines the amount of tokens that it is allowed to take from you. And with ERC-223, the user determines the amount of tokens which is delivered to the smart contract. And this can result in a situation where ERC-223 tokens are deposited to contract, and not every token is used during the liquidity providing process and or swap, and there is some small portion of tokens which is left on the contract's balance. In the optimal conditions, this amount of tokens is delivered back to the user's sending address automatically, but it is possible to somehow mess the process so that your tokens will not be delivered on the final step of this transaction, and you will have your ERC-223 tokens deposited, and they will remain on the contract's balance. The contract will know that this is your tokens. You will be allowed to pull it back. You will just need to call the withdraw function, and you will receive your tokens back, but you need to do this manually. It is not possible to end up in this situation if you interact with our interface, but if you are technically educated person who interacts with smart contracts directly. For example, you can have your own Ethereum node, you can send transaction from the node console, and you can do all this technical stuff. And if you are doing this, you can end up in a situation where you specifically deposited ERC-223 tokens to the smart contract, and they are there. The remaining part of them is still on the contract's balance. And you will need to track them, and you will need to pull them back. So this portfolio page is designed to also demonstrate the tokens on contracts balances. You will be able to see them there. Again, it's not a normal workflow, and I think that any average user of our platform will never experience these things, but for some sort of specific users who can interact with contracts directly for some reason, and maybe for developers who will be able to do this, we are implementing this feature, which will allow them to track tokens on contracts balances, because with ERC20 it is completely unnecessary, but with ERC223 this is what we need to implement. And at the same time, portfolio serves margin trading. You will need to track your positions and orders there. So this is also important as if you are providing lending funds and you receive interest from positions, you need to track positions which took funds from your order in one place. There will be a special place to track all these orders. But portfolio page is a small recap of the thing. It shows you only minimal information, and if you have a lot of orders and a lot of positions, it will be just easier for navigation there.
Okay, wow. So sounds like a very sophisticated tool. Nice to have, especially for the technical people. Another question. No, first I want to ask the community. If you have questions, guys, please raise your hands and we will allow you to speak and you can ask your question to Dexaran. Another question regarding the Ethereum proposal. Recently, there was this vote on the adding of the warning message to the ERC20 token standard. Was there an outcome already?
I think no. Most of the voters voted against, but the conclusion is not yet made. Most likely, this will not pass, unfortunately. But this is not yet a final state. I don't know what they are waiting for. They have all the votes to conclude it now. Maybe they are waiting for some key participant who can change the tides, or maybe some decision from maybe experts or someone who was invited to this discussion. But if it would be a normal process, they will already conclude it at this point, because the number of votes against outweighs the number of votes for the proposal. So I don't know what they're waiting for, but most likely it will not pass. And I don't know why can't they close it yet. So maybe they are waiting for something that I'm not aware of.
Okay, thanks for this answer. So if there's not any question coming in, I think we can wrap it up for today. And yeah, I leave you the final words, Dexaran.
Actually, we have some community questions in the comment chat. I don't know if we have answered those. Maybe we can switch over to them. We have a question from Darkboy1972, which asked the blocking period of the BD223 token.
Any final words for today for this monthly recap?
Oh, I think that Bishop asked a question from the community regarding the locking period of tokens, if I'm correct.
Indeed, yes. I'm just finishing with the question. So it was asking.
Oh, I didn't hear
about
that. Strange. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, maybe only Dexaran can hear me. Well, the PD223 tokens will be for several period of time, the locking period. Is it simply blocked, or can we unlock the tokens when we want? This was from a community question.
I don't fully understand the question, but I need to clarify. The PD223 tokens are pre-sale Dex223 tokens. They are completely identical to the original D223 tokens on Ethereum chain, but they are deployed on a different chain. So we need to take these PD223 tokens and actually we take them and we destroy them, and we just mint this, not actually mint, but we take the amount of actual D223 tokens and deliver to the same people with the same addresses, but on Ethereum chain. So we need to redistribute these tokens on Ethereum chain. Regarding the locking periods, there are few types of tokens which can be locked. This is the team's tokens. We will not be able to sell these tokens right after the listing, and we will just make a contract which will time lock these tokens. We don't have this contract right now, so I can't just point you out to the GitHub repository or some deployed contract, but this is what is planned. So we will just lock our team's tokens in this contract. Users' tokens are not locked. The tokens that you bought on the ICO, they are available to you right now. You can go to Bitmart, you can trade there. Once we will deploy the Dex223 platform, you will be able to interact with the features available to the token holders. And in these features, you will be able to lock these tokens in governance contract or revenue contract. It will be actually the same contract. You will just need to select if you want to participate in governance or revenue or both at the same time. There will be a penalty for not doing what you signed up for. So if you locked your tokens and you decided that you will vote on proposals and then you never vote on proposals, your voting weight will decrease, but there will be no penalty from financial side, so you always receive the revenue, and you never receive any penalty for your tokens balance. So if you locked 100 tokens and you never vote, but you signed up for voting, you will not lose your tokens. You will only lose your capacity to vote. This locking mechanism is for distributing of revenue, and you can just withdraw your tokens anytime. So you can lock them for 1 second and withdraw them 1 second later. This is completely fine.
Okay, awesome. So we have another question from the comments here. There is a guy, Arun, is asking why you choose the 8 billion tokens. He said it's not looking too good with the large quantity compared to other projects. So I think he wants an explanation why we chose these 8 billion tokens of D223.
You can take a look at our tokenomics, and it is described there what we are using our tokens for. And if you are asking why the number is so high, we can just go with 8 tokens with quite high granularity. So you will be able to buy 0.000001 token, and it's like Bitcoin. Tokens with high value and low quantity. But we decided to go the opposite direction because it is easier for people to predict higher price on assets. So when you see a token which is already highly available, like it costs $100, or like BNB, how much BNB costs right now? 584. Great. it's much easier for people to believe that something that costs $0.1 will cost $3. It's 30 times multiplier. Then to believe that something like BNB, which costs already like $600, will cost $18,000, which is the same 30 times multiplier, but it will cost like Bitcoin in 2017. So from this psychological point of view, it is better to pick a higher quantity of tokens with lower price than to go with low quantity token and expect the price to rise high.
Got it. Awesome. So as you said in the chat, I think like every new deployment on every new EVM chain will have the same supply, right? 8 billion tokens. So that means that every ICO token holder now gets the same equal amount on each new deployment, like forever, for example. Is this correct?
Yes, this is completely correct. Everyone who is holding the tokens on the Ethereum chain will receive the same number of tokens on other chains once we are deploying there, except us. We, our team, are not receiving all the tokens on every chain because we have this cross-chain deployment policy, and you can review the details on our page of this policy. It is described there. We are seeking partnerships with key opinion leaders and development teams of other chains and ecosystems, and we are allocating our share of tokens for them on the deployments. But technically, we do receive the tokens. We are just not using them the way we are using them on Ethereum.
Okay, thanks for that. There was another question regarding the liquidity. How much liquidity will be deposited on Bitmart and when the listing be live? So the date, we already talked about that, about the liquidity. I think you answered with the market maker, right?
Yes, and I can't clarify any details on this yet.
Okay, so we will get to that in the next coming days, hopefully. Okay, so I think that's it for today. There's no other questions on the comment section, and if there's not any question from the guests, I think we can wrap it up for today and yeah, leave you with the final words, Dexaran.
Okay, and you can always review the technical report on 4th October. I am publishing it on 4th every month after the period is over and we have more technical details to clarify there. I will be publishing Figma, source codes, GitHub repositories, and all the sources of information there so that you can review it. And thank you everyone for participating in our events. Thank you everyone who participated in the testing of the prototype. We received a lot of feedbacks and we found a lot of useful things there. We are always taking into account what our community is communicating to us. And you can ask your questions in the Telegram channel, or you can submit your proposals there. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Dexaran. Thanks for all the answers today and for the important updates. So yeah, I would like to invite everybody also to join our Telegram, our discussion chat, our announcement chats. Moreover, we have our medium.com publication online where we gather all the important articles about Dex223, ERC223, and so on. And yeah, stay tuned for more information and follow us on Twitter as well. Bye-bye.